Hello. So as promised, I'm on live to answer any questions that you've got around sourcing. So I'll give it a minute, see if anybody's around. And then if you've got any questions, I can answer them live as well. Sorry about sort of gasping for a drink. So I hope everybody's had a really nice day. It's been productive. Been pretty busy, so if you're on, let me know. I can't see anything, but let me know and I can answer some of your questions around sourcing. Anything you want to ask me, I will do my very best to answer it. There's a bit of a common theme as well in the thread that I put. So it was costings, it was finding suppliers, it was costings around, I think one of you started a baby brand, so it was around costings and forecasting and things like that. So I'll do my best to answer them. And actually, before anybody jumps on, when you do watch this, if you watch the replay, there was a lady in here who said they've got an eyelashes business. Yeah, so if you know anybody who has tried, you know the magnetic eyelash, the magnetic eyelash strips. I don't know if you've seen them. I think they've just come out. I've not used them yet, but I've seen them advertised. But if anybody's used them or stocks them or knows where to get them from, will you let me know? Because I normally have the individual lashes put on, and I'm having a rest, as you can see. They're a mess. So hey, really nice to see you. How do I pronounce your name? Is it literally as it's written? Is it Doe or De? How do I pronounce it? Is that right? Am I saying that right? There's so many amazing names in this group, honestly. I think we should actually change the name of the group to say you've got to have an amazing name to join. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that right in my really rubbish Manc accent. Doe like a day. Okay, perfect. I've got it right then. Amazing. So welcome. Just see if anybody else is going to jump on, and then I can answer all your questions. I was just saying, if anybody knows where I can get those the magnetic ones, I normally have the semi-permanent where they put it on individually, but I've seen them where they're like two. It's like two that clip on with a like held by magnetic. Hi, Nicola. Hey. And I really want to try them. I really want to try them because I'm giving my eyelashes a rest from the individual ones that I have put on. So yeah, I want to try the magnetic ones, and I'm sure there's a lady in this group who has an eyelash business. I know it's going to sound crazy, but she actually retails eyelashes. So if you're watching this or you know who she is, then get to give me a call, because I want some, and I'd rather get some through somebody in the group and support somebody in here. So right, sourcing. There's loads and loads of questions, which I thought might be the case, because it's usually the one area or one of the areas that becomes a bit of a sticking point and stops people moving forward. And it shouldn't do, because once you know the process, I'm not going to say it's easy, because what is easy, but it's doable, and actually you'll enjoy the process as you start to learn how to do it. So let me get my questions, because I wanted to make sure I answered all of your questions. Okay, MOQ came up. So if you're watching and you're not quite sure what that is, it's your minimum order quantity. And yes, it can be a little bit of a stickler. What I tend to work with is private label or white label producing. That is different to wholesale. And again, I don't want to go into too much depth, because when I'm coaching, it's much more in smaller bites that we can go through the process, but just so you know where I'm coming from. So wholesale is where and if you don't know, you're literally going to go and find a wholesaler who's got the stock that you want. You buy the stock and off you go, and you take it with you, or you get it delivered. The thing with wholesalers is you buy it as you see it. So it's the labeling, the packaging, how the product looks, the colours, it is what it is. You can't change it. So it's great if you want to test a market, but it's not personal, it's not personally branded. And one of the ways to really like, for me and what I've seen in the last 20 years, one of the amazing ways is to launch your own product that's personally branded, because you are talking to an audience, you are really, amazing, Nicola. You're really talking to that audience, and when you know who you're talking to and you do that, it's it's much more impactful as a brand. But if you did want to mix private label and did want to mix wholesale or test wholesale, then it's a great way to do it. And literally you can find wholesalers anywhere. You can look online, and you sign up for an account. You usually you have to spend so much on stock, but it can be like, sometimes it's just £200. You spend £200 on stock, and there'll be minimum packs that you'll be able to buy. So like a pack of 8 of something, or a pack of 12, or whatever it might be, a pack of 24. But the challenge with that, if you are doing that and it's clothing, the challenge with that is you only get certain size sets. So if you sell out in more of one of a size and not the other, then you've got to buy a full pack again, which can be pretty annoying. You can't have your own size sets. So the thing with private label and manufacturing your own product, it's yours. You can produce it, you can manufacture it, but the challenge with that is MOQs, which some of the ladies had mentioned, around that minimum order quantity. Now, depending on what product that you're wanting to get into, so cosmetics, I'll give you an example. It's cosmetics, for one, it can be high minimums. It doesn't mean it's not achievable, but 1,000 is usually where they're at. However, it can be done, and it depends how you want to play it. So what I mean by that is, with private label, you are using their production runs. So say, for example, it's a face cream and you want to launch a face cream which is got no parabens in and maybe organic, blah, blah, blah. You're going to look for a supplier who is able to create that cream. They will be running it for other brands. And this happens all the time. There'll be candles on melt. I'll come back to that in a minute. Sorry, I'm going to go off. I'll come back to that in a minute. So what happens all the time, if you've got cleaning products in your house, which I'm going to assume you have, a toothpaste, things like that, a lot of them are private label. So what happens is they come off a production run and they will package them into different packaging. So you're thinking you're getting a different brand, when actually it's all to do with how the brand communicates with you. So you might prefer one brand over another, when actually it's the packaging, it's their values, it's how they speak to you that you're preferring, and not necessarily the product. Which sounds a little bit sneaky, doesn't it? But I'll give you another example. I'm sure, yes, it's Grey Goose vodka. Grey Goose vodka is produced in the same place as Costco vodka. Different labeling, different price points, different perception, and that's what private labeling is. So if you wanted to do something really, really particular with your product, and you was going to have to get them to put ingredients in that was manufactured differently to what they're running through on their production runs, then yeah, you're going to have a minimum issue, because they've got to sell it might be molds they're setting up, it'll be testing, it'll be the machines, it'll be the way they produce it. So there is going to always be minimums, and the same with clothing. However, if you can utilize what they're already doing and find the supplier that's doing what you want to do, then you can get those minimums down. And again, the only other caveat to that is packaging. Packaging is one of those things that, again, these minimums, it's the cost of printing, and especially when, as a supplier, they're getting their boxes and all their packaging from outside sources, there's minimums for them that they have to negotiate. But most suppliers, what they will do is they will have a standard packaging that they can use. So what I would say is, depending on your cost price, depending on who you're pitching your product at, and how you're pitching yourself in the marketplace, is one of the things you can do to get started is use a white box, use their standard box and put a sticker on. Get your logo designed, get a sticker designed, and that way you're not driven by minimums, because most suppliers, if you start building up a good relationship, they will print stickers off for you, and you can put them on the box, and then you've got something that's branded. And then as you start to turn money, then as your production runs get bigger, then you can start to invest in how that packaging is going to look. The difficulty of that is if you are going out with a high price point value item for that product. So say you was producing a face cream and you was going out at £70 or £60, you are going to have to invest that money in packaging straight away, because if you're going to have a customer spending £60, she's got to have the best experience ever with that product. So it's all to do with this all has to be, I'm talking very, very generally, because I'm not, if we're working together it's different, but It's very, very generous. So you've got to think of all the different levers that you can pull. So candles and wax melts. Again, wholesalers, you can absolutely get them from wholesalers. But it might be that to get the type of candle and the type of ingredient you want, then you might need to get them manufactured, and they shouldn't be that bad a minimum. So it shouldn't be, unless there's something really particular in there that it has to have. Probably find a supplier that can do that. The other thing you can do as well, you've always got to think about outside the box. If again, you know, coming from, say you wanted something handmade, or you wanted something much more natural and less manufactured, and it's not to say you can't have natural ingredients in manufactured products, you can, but say you wanted something in particular, there's other ways to do it, because what you might be able to do is negotiate a deal with somebody who makes them. Now obviously with that, you are never going to massively be able to scale up that business, because when you start making products, or when you start investing with people who make them, there's always going to be a limit to what you can sell. But if it's in addition to other products, then that's also a great angle. So you could find somebody maybe on Etsy or any of these handmade, or in the group or somewhere, and maybe trial and test their products. And then what you could do and say to them is, right, okay, so for, you know, if I said I'm going to commit to this amount, can you do this price? And you would then work it out so that there's basically a profit in there for you to be able to sell it on. Some will, some won't, but again, it's just another angle to your business, especially if it's multidimensional, you've got lots of things going on, and that's quite a nice angle as well. Okay, so that's MOQs. Packaging we've touched upon. And the other thing, what you can do with packaging, if we're looking at like glass bottles and jars, or jars of cream, or things like that, or even clothing tags, it's another one to think about. Again, at the very beginning, being cost effective, one of the things you can do is create something that's very generic. So you could have it printed on a box, or you could have a can, you know, something that's very generic, and then you can use stickers for the product description. So again, depends all on price point. But say for example, you wanted your logo on a hand tag, and you was launching with 10 different styles of clothing, and to have it all printed separately, you'd need massive runs, and it's becoming a problem and too costly. Get one label printed to cover all runs of 10. All 10 items, and then get them to put a sticker on with the description of what it is. So the main tag would be your logo, it would be you'd maybe put like a little bit about you, and then they would put a ticket on with maybe a price and the product description, something like that. So there's always ways around it, especially at the very beginning. So stationery is one of my favorites. I also retail product, and I use Amazon as my platform, because for me, I already have a coaching business. I have another business as well, and I want hands-free. So the bit I love is product developing, developing products for the market, for the market I want to appeal to. And then with Amazon, I'm hands-off. I use their fulfillment centers, their shipping centers, and what I do is I market it. So I have the strategy in there to be able to rank. So I invested in a course at the beginning of this year to understand how to utilize Amazon, which is what I bring to some of my clients who want to do the same. But so stationery is one of my favorites. I would say, again, depending on where you're based, but China is an amazing source for stationery, absolutely amazing. You can do private label, which is the key thing. Yes, you can probably source local. I don't know whether there's quite a lot of ladies in here from the UK and the US. You can source locally, be able to find local, but again, it's all to do with that business strategy at the beginning. So what do you want to achieve from it? What's your product investment? You know, what's your end goal? And then it's working back and going, right, okay, so that type of sourcing is right for me. That's what I'm going to do first, and then I'm going to move it on. So you're in the UK. Okay, so there is places you can source stationery from. It's a bit more costly if you do it through UK printers and things like that, and it's not as unique as well. That's the other thing. So I would personally recommend China. Is there any particular area on stationery that you've got your eye on? Is it literally like notebooks or and things like that, pens, that type of thing? Let me know if that's what you're thinking. Let me know if you've launched products before and how you're gonna, if you have, or if you're just completely starting out and where you're at in your business. I bet there's some more questions there to help you out. So what else? I'm just checking what other questions you asked. Have a look. So on the other thread, I think it was Abigail asked about customs charges. Again, this is one of those stumbling blocks where people can get really freaked out and think, oh my God, I can't import, I can't bring goods in, I can't get them from offshore. But don't let it stop you. The thing with customs, if you are importing, sorry, I'll just fidgeting. So if you are importing, from China to the UK. Every product has what we call a commodity code. It's to do with inland revenue, the customs. Sorry, it's to do with shipping and customs. And every product has a commodity code, and depending on that commodity code, is linked to import duty, a percentage of import duty. Some products you can import with no import duty. There's no cost. Some countries you can import with no import duty or limited commodity codes because they want the third world countries and they want them to grow. But generally, what the key is finding out what your commodity code is, looking at what that import duty cost is. There is going to be obviously a shipping cost, and there is going to be potentially VAT as well, because we pay VAT on everything in the UK anyway. So people go, oh my God, I've got to pay VAT. You pay it on everything anyway. This is just a different way around it. So don't panic. In terms of importing, one of the things I can recommend is freight forwarders. Most freight forwarders, they're the people that get your goods, they handle them, they'll usually help you, and they will help you import them and go through the stages. What's important to know is there is cost to it. So it's about getting the costs for all those different areas. So don't just think you can grab and you can get something from China and that's kind of it. There's cost, but it is cost effective. So it's definitely cost effective to even have all of that on your costings as well. So it's definitely worth looking at. So I think it's Abigail, you mentioned looking at Indonesia. You need to look up the tariff code or the commodity code for the product you want to import. So if you search tariff code or product code, commodity code, Abigail, with the description of the product you want to import, it should start to come up on Google. What you then want to have a look at is Indonesia. I can't remember, I've shipped from Indonesia when I was in Bali. We used to go there a lot. Indonesia and Malaysia via Singapore. Most of it's usually through Singapore on the shipping routes. But just find out if Indonesia is one of those countries that you don't need to, there's not big charges coming out of it. I don't think it is. And the commodity codes, again, I'll give you a rough, it's going to be 12%. It's 3%, 0, 12%. I don't think I've seen a commodity code over 15%, but again, I've not imported every single product type there is out there. So I'd just have a look at it, get some quotes. The key thing to do is research the cost of the product, research your suppliers. You want to research with about 10 suppliers. Don't just go with the first one. I'll give you some tips in a minute, but you want to research with about 10 suppliers. You want to go and get your costs. You want to ask your supplier to get you some shipping costs, because they usually get better deals than us anyway. So ask them, after you've got a cost for the product, ask them to get you a cost for the shipping. And have a look at what that looks like. And again, you've got the choice of air or sea. Air is great on really small shipments. You can if you can get a really small quantity, bring it in and test the market. Otherwise, you're going to have to sea ship it. And again, you need to look at your lead times, because your lead times for a sea shipment, on average, about 4 weeks. But again, on your costings, what you want to look at is when they give you a cost, you want to know what that lead time is, and that they're not sending it around Timbuktu for a really cheap cost, and it takes 6 months to get there, because this is going to sound really silly, but there is slow boats and there's fast boats. So it depends on the route. So just ask lead times. Okay. Right, suppliers in China. the quickest way for you guys to be able to do that, I would say, is Alibaba. Or there's Thomasnet, there's Alibaba, there is, I'm trying to think of the other one, and then there's your trusty old friend Google, and there's a few others as well. So I'll give you an example. So Alibaba is basically a massive big network with lots and lots of Chinese suppliers on there, where you can go on and search. You want to make sure they trade assured. You want to make sure, ideally, they've got the gold seal from Alibaba, because they're not all approved by them. So that's what you've got to look for. They're not all approved. It's knowing what to look for with those suppliers. Go and have a look. I mean, literally, if you go on there and have a look now, it's like a kid in a candy shop. There's just stuff everywhere. But everything you see and the prices you see, take with a pinch of salt, because when you come to negotiate with them and when you come to speak to them, it'll be a different price, but it will give you a feel. It will give you a feel. So don't go think, oh my god, it's all there, I just press buy. You're going to need to do some costings, you're going to need to do some negotiating. Do not buy from anywhere or go through the process of paying for shipments or anything like that until you have put in a sample process. This is one of the things that I do with my clients. Honestly, I can tell you some horror stories from the buying world, and that's with big global companies. I think I mentioned once on here, one of my first ranges from China, it was a waterproof coat. I guess like an assistant buyer. I mean, it was probably talking about 18 years ago, and I was so excited. I'd worked with a supplier for a couple of years, they knew me, everything else, and I'd kind of skipped a couple of steps because I was being all cocky and thought I knew everything. And this waterproof coat came in, and it said in the care label, do not get wet. Honestly, you can imagine how many units were sat in this warehouse. There was thousands. I know the warehouse guys phoning me like, have you asked for this? And basically, I've not done the sealing process properly because I thought they knew me. I thought the conversations we'd had on the phone that they got it. I'd been out to China and seen them, and so they knew me. But with this particular product, I'd missed and skipped some steps. So yeah, it was very costly because all the labelling had to be took out, and to do that in the UK, it's expensive. So the other thing you need to think about as well is if you're cosmetics or anything you're digesting, anything you're putting on your skin, anything like that, do not get from China. Do not get from China. America, Europe, America is a really good source for cosmetics and skincare and things like that for private label. You've got to really dig deep to find those suppliers, but do not order anything from China. That is anything you're going to put in your mouth, because they don't have the same laws. The EU laws are the strictest out there. They are really, really strict. Again, with anything to do with putting on our skin, putting in our bodies, anything like that. Crazy. They are really, really tight with things you can say on ingredients, things you can put in it. And I'm not saying this to put anybody off, absolutely no way. It can be done. It's, you just got to go through the process. The reason why I'm sharing it is because you don't want to invest and find your perfect supplier and just crack on and deliver a load of goods that the EU won't let you do. Hey Yolanda, hello. So we're just talking all things sourcing. If you've got any questions, then just let me know. Let me know where you're up to. Is there anything else on stationery, guys, that I can help you with? I'm having to talk very, very general here, because obviously it's not one-on-one, and it's not the way I would normally work is that big picture, that strategy, planning it all out, mapping it out, working backwards. So looking at what actions we need to hit when, looking at how we hit those actions, so which suppliers, how to negotiate with them, all that kind of stuff. So this is very top line, but hopefully it will give you some insight into how you can move forward. My little girl's got a cough, and you know what's going to happen, don't you? She's just coughed and sneezed on me all day. She keeps like wiping her nose on me. So yeah, that's probably the weekend. I'm going to be full of cold, which is exciting. What else would you need to know that could help you? I don't want to overload you. Building relationships is really important with suppliers, because it's one of the reasons why I'd pretty successful career in buying, because I still speak to lots of them now, because it's like any relationship, it's a two-way thing. You know, there'll be times there's going to be challenges especially when you're importing lots and lots of products. You know, there's always going to be challenges, delays, anything like that. But it's about being able to negotiate and get the best deal for both of you, because the suppliers don't want it late, because they're basically not going to get paid. So it's just knowing what to ask for, knowing how to get around them, and especially with negotiating to get that best price. Best price doesn't always mean cheapest price. And again, when you're new to this, just bear that in mind. Look at what you're getting for that price. And the other top tip is, I would always recommend cross-costing with different suppliers, cross-costing at least five of the same product across different suppliers, so you understand the costing, and you'll then start to learn whether something's expensive, whether they're just having you over, whether you've got a good price, whether you can negotiate a little bit more. So finding suppliers for planners. Depending on where you're based, we're just saying you can look locally, and you can look for companies like printing wholesalers, printing wholesalers for planners, things like that. You can search on the web for that. The thing with those is they're pretty rigid in their templates, but if you've got really kind of easy to use inside, then that's okay, because you can use them, but they'll be a little bit more expensive. But sometimes that little bit more expensive, you can get a lower MOQ, so a lower minimum order quantity. However, I was just saying, China is an amazing place to source from for stationery and planners and things like that. You can look on, again, Google's a really good way to do it. If you are searching Google, my top tip is, don't just look on the first page. When you put suppliers in, again, think your terminology as well. Manufacturers is when they're factories and they're manufacturing. Wholesalers might not even, it depends which country you're in, but wholesalers generally, they bought stock off manufacturers. They don't produce it. So just be careful of your terminology, so you're looking at the right things. But manufacturers in China, where you can get your own styles, your own things produced, then China's a great source. Look deep into Google. So go to the page, type in what you want, put manufacturing, and then go into page like 8, 9, 10. They don't use SEO. They don't use SEO in China. The suppliers, usually buyers go out there. So they don't need to. So you'll have to really dig around. And the other place is Alibaba. It's an amazing tool, but again, just be careful, because there is some dodgy ones on there. You've got to really know what you're doing. Trade Assured and Gold Status is a really good way to kind of start filtering out. Never just go with your first supplier. What else do you need to know? I keep saying don't. I'm trying to stop myself from coughing. Let me think. So yeah, I think that would be it on stationery. I'm just looking at my questions if there's anything else that the girls picked up. Yeah, minimums. Look for your minimum order quantity. There will be some. There'll be minimum order quantities, and you can negotiate. Anything that needs a mold or needs kind of something particular, then that's going to be a little bit more higher on the MOQ. But you can get some things that are as much as like 100 to 200. So yeah, that's the thing with sourcing. Yes, you do know what you've got to, how you need to do it and what you've got to do. But go out and have a look. Go out and have a look and just give it a go. What I would say, just don't let it stop you, because one of the things I don't want to do is stop anyone from kind of moving forward in the business. You've just got to go for it. This is what we do. It's trial and error with everything. Obviously, I work with clients. If anybody wants to, thinks, right, actually I'm ready to really make a difference, and in the next couple of months get from A to B, launch their product range, and go through that whole process with my support, showing you how to do it, what to do, what to say, on all of the areas. So not just sourcing, but branding, building platforms, building funnels, getting the right idea, how to speak to your audience, how to understand your competitors and the benefits it takes. But obviously, what you need to do is book a discovery call, and we can have a chat and see if we work together, and kind of I can get underneath your idea, because it's what I love to do. I absolutely love it. But if you want to go it alone, then absolutely just, you know, go for it. You've just got to go for it. Just be careful you don't invest money, or a lot of money, if you're not clear or you're not confident in that supplier that you're going to be working with, because you're going to obviously be handing over a fair amount of money, really. So is there any other questions? Is there anything else that I can help with? I think I've covered them all. So it was MOQs was one, which we talked about at the beginning. If you missed that, I've covered something around your minimum order quantity at the beginning. Packaging I've covered, custom charges for Abigail, building relationships, the difference between manufacturers and wholesalers. So I think that's it, guys. Oh, the other thing as well, I mentioned sample processing as well, didn't I? And I've got an invoice here from one of my suppliers. I'm just going to hide that. But just so you can see, and we're talking about customs and importing and things like that. I don't know if is that showing backwards, but here it says commodity code. So it's the commodity code in terms of how you can ship it and how you can bring it in. This was just for a sample. I would never ever pay for anything that I've not seen and approved a sample. Absolutely no way. And I am just in the middle of myself. I'm actually creating my own. I'm creating my own planner as well, but it's linked to what I do. So it's linked to how to build a retail business, and there's going to be lots and lots of. I'm trying to narrow it down because there's that much stuff in it. But I'm creating a planner via China and to launch on Amazon. So that should be on Amazon. I'm hoping to get it done in the next 2 weeks and finished. But at the minute it's just going on and on. So you know, anything is possible, guys. So Natalie, how much you say you would need to start with stationery? It depends what it is. So let's have a look. So let's say, again, it depends on what. It's hard because so say it's a notepad. Say you can get a notepad for say 90p. You're gonna maybe have. I'm gonna add 20% on for individual shipping. You'd have to look at the total shipping. That. So say it ended up being 150 times by, you could probably with stationery per line maybe get to 100 pieces, maybe 150. Depends how much you want to change of what they've got. But if they've got, for example, if they've got a stationery and they've got a cover of one and you want it on another design of theirs, then that's usually okay. It's if you want anything specific, like your name on it or something else like that, or particular things inside, it can change the quantities. But say it was 150 cost with everything on, and then you're gonna have 150. It's obviously going to be, yeah, so you can get it down to 150. It's going to be £180, and then you're going to have shipping. Again, you might be able to air freight it because it's really small. Probably going to want about 10 lines, would you say? So maybe around £500. Maybe give yourself a budget. What I would do is I would again, you know, depending on the platform you're selling on, depending on what your end goal is, depending on who you're going to service, what I would be doing with you. If I would say, for example, if I was working with you, we would look at how many, all of that information, and then work it back. So how many styles do you need to be able to go out with a credible launch? If on certain platforms you might get away with one, on some platforms you might need to have 10, because you know, going to one website and there being one line there is not going to particularly work. So it depends on your business strategy. But say it's 10 styles, you might be needing £500. But again, there's other ways. £500, £1,500, I would say, to launch products and ship them and do all the things that you want to do with them. Does that help? I know that's really vague, but it's not as simple, because it's understanding where you're going with it and how many styles and what you want to do with it as well. That is always the key to all this. It's getting that business strategy down. Oh, Nicola, there is so many things you could do. so many things you could do, honestly. So many. You can go down. Again, you've got it's your audience. You know what your audience comes to you for, and what she wants. You could attack products from her. You could look at products that are going to be something that would make her feel amazing. You could attack products from a need basis, so things that she might need. You could look at products and attack products from enhancing an experience. So again, there's so many different avenues of products that you could do, depending on what you want to achieve with your audience, depending on what makes your heart sing, depending on what you want it to look like, what that big vision is at the end, you know, what makes you happy. There's so many different product ideas, seriously. Get that discovery call booked and we'll definitely have a chat, because yeah, so many things. I mean, the key thing with you is you've got your audience there. So that's why I love working with coaches. I work with a fitness coach, a fitness blogger, not that long ago, launched a planner, full fitness planner. You know, we pre-launched, she pre-sold it before she'd even got the stock in, because she's got a customer base there. It's just so exciting, you know. It's really, really good. So you've got your cards published on Amazon. Amazing. How are they doing? Are you working the ranking system? Are you working with the rankings to get that rank up, and you know, your reviews and your ads and things like that? Because that's the thing, you want to get on page 1 or 2 with Amazon. And also the key thing with Amazon, obviously you can put anything on there, absolutely, but if you're being really strategic and want an Amazon business, then the key thing is to launch products that are in demand at that time. So you've got to be able to look at the BSR on there and know which are the right products to launch. So it might not always be a product that you want to, you know, that's going to be the product that you bring into your online business. The company deals with it. Okay. So yeah, they should be ranked. They should be getting you up there when you're ranking. If you're paying for that, they should absolutely be pushing you up there. But yeah, you want to be launching products on there that you can get on that first page, which is just passive income, just income coming in, which is really good. I can feel my voice going. I'm going to end up with a cold tonight, aren't I? Great. I'm going out on Saturday for the first time in, God, we haven't been out for ages together. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be sat having a meal out with my husband sneezing and coughing all over him, which is just typical. So typical. So is there any other questions, ladies? Anything else I can help you with? Even if it's not on sourcing, if there's any other questions, there's quite a few. Oh, thank you. I know, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know what I'm going to wear though. That's the next thing. I haven't been out for ages, so yeah, I've got to figure out what I can fit in and what I'm happy to be seen in, which is 2 different things. So yeah, is there anything else, lovely ladies, that could help? I know there's quite a few of you that are new in the group as well, so if there's anything you want to ask me, please fire away. It's just a good way to get those questions answered and move forward. I think there's a little bit of a delay here as well, so I'll give you a chance to. I've got. I don't even should be telling you this, shouldn't I? But I wear my crystals on me, and the trousers I had on today didn't have any pockets, so I've got the crystals in my. I could just feel them there. I've got one in each side, so yeah, it probably looks a bit of a funny shape if you can see it. Which is a bit random, isn't it? But yeah, I've just realised I was laying on the table. But yeah, crystals work wonders. I always feel so different when I've got them on me, rather than carrying them, you know, carrying them in my purse or just being in the house. So I think we're done. I think everybody's asked their questions. I don't think there's any more. If there is, just like I say, just pop it down on the, let me just check, yeah, just pop it down below or message me or inbox me. Get that discovery call book, ladies, if you want to, you know, really make a difference. The key thing is now we're in November, so by January, you want that business up and running. You want it done. So, you know, sometimes we just need that extra support to be able to do that. But anything is possible, let me tell you. Anything is possible. So you just gotta go for it. You know, whatever it is, whatever you decide to do, just go for it. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Yes, I do my own. I use Canva. It really is as simple as that. There's lots and lots of tools, lots and lots of apps you can do to design your own. You can, if you find the right supplier, the supplier will have different interiors that you can use as well. I'm just wondering whether I've got, let me just see if I've got one of my products here so you can have a look. Okay, so this isn't a planner. This is one of my portfolios. So this is China produced, and just ignore that because it's been screwed up in the other room. But this is one of my products. So you can see, like, design the inside and work with the supplier on the fabric, on the feel of it. So it's something really beautiful and soft. The pen, so it's got added value. You know, this is, I absolutely love product developing and working with customers. It's always about getting the best product and the right product. It's got a little clasp. So this was a clasp that took inspiration off a bag. So if you ever struggle, you know, you've got to take inspiration from absolutely everywhere, ladies, everywhere. And that's what I love to do. You've got to look at everything. So we use this little clasp detail, which is just so cute, isn't it? It's like a shiny rose gold. You can see it in the light. How cute is that? So yeah, you can carry everything in it. You can carry it for the lady who likes to move about. So yeah, you can design your own. You can work with your supplier. You can use tools if you're wanting to do things where it's a planner and it's detailed inside. You can use Canva. I think there's PicMonkey. There's others as well. There's loads of ways to do loads of ways to do it. It just depends on what you want. So yeah, how amazing is that? So that's it, ladies. I think. I don't think there's anything else. Like I say, give me a shout. I'm going to probably do another training next week. So we've done branding this week, and I will do something else next week and answer any questions. In fact, I might do the one that most of you won't have seen, which I did probably a month back. So I might do that one again so that you can all see that as well. So that's it from me. Have an amazing evening. I'll see y'all soon, and yeah, much love. So thanks for staying on, guys. See you soon. Bye.